John, you ready? How you feeling?
Feeling good. Second? I just need to wipe my face.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to All Surfaces Leadership Communication Series. My name is Hayden Ryan, and this season is called Hot Seat, where we ask leaders of our company burning questions while eating spicy wings and sometimes sour candies. Today's episode features our CEO, John DeYoung. John,
hey Hayden, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you.
And I'm hungry.
As am I. I see that you've been munching on the fries.
I have been munching on the fries.
So that's always good. John has been with the company for 5 years. He's graduated from Mizzou and Columbia with 20 plus years in the building materials industry with over 75 acquisitions.
That's right.
He's worked for companies like Allied Building Products, Metri, and SiteOne Landscape Supply, and he's from Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right.
Welcome to the show. How are your spicy foods?
I'm actually pretty good with spicy foods. I love spicy foods. There's actually not much I won't eat, or at least try, and I like to put spice on it. So
awesome.
we'll see how I do.
First is the classic chili maple sauce, which would be the top of your left. So when you're ready, you are.
All right, here we go.
Let's try it.
That's good. That's a good wing.
So, John, we know you lived in places like Kansas City, where you're from, but you've also lived in New York, New Jersey, obviously Minnesota. What do you miss most from living in each state, and what have you gathered from your time in living across the country?
Grew up in Kansas, right outside of Kansas City, Independence, Missouri, home of Harry S. Truman, and lived there through all of my high school years and through college. And the thing I missed most about Kansas City is that it's where I built most of my friends. You know, they always say that your oldest friends, the ones you've had the longest, are sort of your deepest relationships. And so I haven't lived in Kansas City since '99. I still have family there, but I don't get back as much as I used to. And so that's what I miss most about it, is my friends and kind of going to the old haunts that you go to when you're growing up. And then when we moved to New Jersey from Kansas City, right outside New York City, we cried all the way there because we were scared, and it was, you know, biggest city in the United States. But we loved it. We were newlyweds, no kids, lived just a train ride outside of New York City, and got to go to Broadway and have amazing food and walk around Manhattan. It was really awesome. And then from there, you know, we moved to Chicago, and that's where my kids did most of the growing up. So the thing that I miss most about Chicago is that was my kids' childhood home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And now living in Minnesota, and we didn't have any family when we lived in Illinois, right? It was just Jenny and I and our kids. So we didn't have a lot of support, but we love being in Minnesota now because my in-laws are here, and, you know, we have family dinners every Sunday.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun to be near family. And for 6 months of the year, this is an amazing place to live.
6 months is being a little generous. John,
Right. 5.5.
Yeah. So our second wing is a curry verde wing, and that is about 2.5 times hotter than jalapeno.
Curry verde, does that mean curry green?
I believe so. I'm not bilingual, but
I could have a whole bucket of those things.
So, John, a recent development that we've had is recently you communicated our new national brand name, All Surfaces, and you always say that we're a house of brands, one team, one dream type messaging. We have 50 locations spread across 15 states. So, to what level will each brand interact with each other, and how will you see that going forward?
No, it's a great question. I've hit on this at different times, and I think it's important to drive the point home. Is that what does a house of brands mean, right? And what that means is that we have we've combined a lot of the best building materials distribution companies in the upper Midwest, certainly from Denver all the way to Detroit. What that really means as a house of brands is that I don't want, my vision is, and I believe very strongly, that I don't want the individual brands to lose who they are and what made them successful. On the flip side of that is, I want all of the brands collaborating with one another, right? The reasons that they're part of our team is that they are excellent at what they do, and everyone has a little secret sauce. Maybe not as hot as these, but everyone has a little secret sauce. And we want that to continue. We want that to cross-pollinate with all the other brands. So we're going to see the big differences is that, every counter, every delivery driver, every showroom is a little different. And I think it's okay because that's what our customers have come to grow and love and get used to, in some cases for almost as much as 100 years. In the case of Blakely. It's important that we maintain that, but behind the scenes, what we really want is that all of our leadership teams and sales teams, operations teams, purchasing teams are working together to make sure that they're building the best support to power all of those brands. And so that's why we say all services. And when we talk about individual brands, we talk about Cartwright or Blakely or Walcrow, powered by all surfaces, and that's the collaboration is really behind the scenes. What I would say, though, is there are a few brands like CCS, Walcrow, Tri-State, and Blakely that sort of overlap a little bit. Mm-hmm. And what we'll see is that the brands, the sales teams will be completely integrated, and we'll have flooring sales reps, and we'll have supplies sales reps, and all of the territories are going to be very cleanly divided and all of that. So our customers are going to feel like they're getting more support, not less. And so that's how they're going to collaborate really more at the customer level. And then finally, what I would say, and probably a long answer, is at some point down the road, we really want our logistics to be integrated so that a customer can just order whatever they want. And seamlessly behind the scenes, our computers and our people are just putting things on trucks, and it's showing up at a customer's location, and it's seamless to them. And so that's something that we really want to do, and that's how we're going to collaborate and work together going forward.
No, absolutely. I think that's very exciting, and it's going to be easy for customers because they have that brand to recognize with. But in the background, our customers, our salespeople will have that support that they need to be able to best serve the customers.
Maybe as a quick aside, and I hit this in sort of the launch video for all services, is that Crown, while it's probably very maybe dear to some of the old Crown employees, it wasn't a great name. We couldn't trademark it. We couldn't get a website. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of companies named Crown or a Crown in the title, and so it was almost impossible to do. And so I really think that all surfaces, the name and the powered by, really will drive home the point to our national customers who we are as a company, while keeping the individual feel at the local level.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, John. So with that, we'll move on to our next thing, which is zesty lemon pepper.
That sounds good.
It goes really well on
Sounds
seafood.
like something my mom would like.
Yes. So, John, in your last answer, you kind of alluded to overlapping branches within our footprint, with Blakely, Walcrow, Altai, CCS, where we have two branches in the same city, for an example. Can you tell us about our brand's consolidation plan at all?
So that's a good question, Hayden. And I know it's something that a lot of people are very interested in, but I can tell you honestly that we haven't dedicated a lot of time to really analyzing it. And the main reason is that you have to have an ERP that is tied together so that you can understand the different nuances of what it's like to combine a branch. And so to put it in perspective, for many who may not know, out of the 50 locations we have, there were 8 that overlapped. For the most part, as I said, haven't really spent much time on it because the ERP conversion hasn't happened yet. Teams are working very hard on it. I will say that there are some notable exceptions to that, though. The first and the notable exceptions specifically are related to lease terms, personnel or space concerns. Right. And so from an exception standpoint, Davenport, Iowa was the first, and that branch has already merged. And the very simple and straightforward reason for that is that our lease was up in June of this year, so we had to make a decision. The other two examples that I would give are Madison, Wisconsin, and Green Bay, Wisconsin. And for similar reasons, we have a little more time on our lease, but not much. And what we've seen is that we have very strong businesses in both of those markets. And we know that if we did decide to put those branches together, we would need a much bigger space, because our Green Bay branch, CCS's Green Bay branch, our Madison branch, CCS's Madison branch are both very strong. And we couldn't shoehorn each of them in together. So as a result, we're being very proactive, and we're looking in the markets for, or working with our landlords to find bigger spaces, and negotiating lease, that kind of thing takes time.
Yeah.
So other than those three examples, we haven't really spent a lot of time doing it. I think the one other thing that I'd like to say, because I suspect that there's probably some nerves around this question, it's actually the question I get the most. All of you watching this probably know that all of our companies are run fairly lean, right? And that might be an understatement in some of our locations. And so, and we have really great people. And so, if we're putting branches together, it's not just the inventory, but it's the sales volume. So we have great people, we run fairly lean. And so, if there's any worries about, fallout or employment or those kinds of things, I don't think that they're, I understand them, but I'm not particularly worried about them. Easy for me to say, but I do believe that. Our people are great, and our customers have come to love and respect all of our people. And I think that that's going to work itself out just fine when we do ultimately get to putting the branches together.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, I think we can move on to our next wing, which is a Chipotle Ghost, and I've heard described as like a spicy mole sauce. So.
All right. Well, I love Mexican food, and it says it's got chocolate on it, so
it does, yeah.
You have it for dessert. They should have that at B-Dubs.
They should have that at B-Dubs. In our last question, you touched on the ERP system and the system integration and how that's chugging along. Is there a target date to complete the integration? And after that, another question to kind of leave that on is, will there be any more acquisitions or new locations down the road?
So the ERP conversion, the teams are working really hard. For those, really involved in the ERP conversion, that's their daily job. They're just grinding it out, and we're making great progress. Once all the data is converted, and once we have all of the back end done, then we're going to have a conversation with ourselves and really think about sort of the pros and cons about who goes first, whether we want to merge somebody first that doesn't have a lot of overlap, like Cartwright, or whether we want to go where we have better opportunities for team collaboration, like Walcrow and CCS. So I would say once we get a lot of the ones and zeros tied up, then we'll start making those decisions. As far as future acquisitions, I'll brag on our company a little bit that, I started in December of 18, and we were 17 locations and $34 million. And now we're 50 locations and, well over $400 million. And so and that's just been done in not quite 5 years, because I started in December. So it's been 4.5 years, a little more than 4.5 years. And so our strategy is working. We're finding great local or regional businesses to become part of the team that have similar values and cultures that we have, and I think that there's more of them out there. The name All Surfaces and the way that our teams are collaborating and all the work we're getting done, I think is a really good postcard or calling card for why people should join our team. Yeah. And so we have nothing in the works at the moment. Despite all the rumors in the market, I've gotten a few phone calls from suppliers saying, hey, I heard you're buying someone tomorrow. We're not, but we're always looking for great companies to partner with.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will say that this is about as big as a softball, so I might take 2 bites here. Oh. For those of you watching at home, this might be one of the best sauces I've ever had.
It is That'd be perfect for a breakfast burrito. Mm-hmm.
That might be one of my favorite sauces of all time. You know, I'm not having any problem with the heat, but because, you know, I'm losing my hair, I think I'm sweating a little bit. But that's a good thing.
I wasn't going to say anything, but, you know. Here we have a picture to show everyone, and our company now stretches nationally from the Appalachians to the Rockies and north of the Mason-Dixon line in Canada. So we know you travel a lot for work, but can you tell us where this picture is taken and how is the trip?
So that is in Costa Rica, and when Jenny and I first got married and our kids were younger, we did sort of trips closer to home. Like, so when we lived in Chicago, we'd go around the lake, and we would, you know, maybe rent a house or stay in a condo or what have you over on the west side of Michigan. But I really wanted to take my kids out of the country and wanted to go to a place that was safe, but really different from what they knew in, you know, Chicago, et cetera. And so one of the guys I worked with at the time, his name was Justin, had just taken his honeymoon in Costa Rica, and he says, you've got to go there. It's very safe. I'm not bilingual. He says everybody there speaks English, and it's just a very different experience. So that's a picture of my wife and 3 kids, and so that's Jenny. My oldest daughter is Elizabeth, my middle is Sam, and my youngest is Katie. And that's a picture of us in the rainforest where we saw howler monkeys. We saw a coral snake. That's one of the world's most venomous snakes. I was probably from me to you, that snake. It was just in the wild. Like, it wasn't in the zoo. Like, there it was. I have a picture of it. I didn't send you that picture, but it was an amazing trip. And I've been to Costa Rica one other time since then because it was so good. So our family loved it.
So, John, for our next wing, we have number 6. It's the Mako Snake, which is kind of a Indian-inspired flavor profile. Ooh, it smells good.
I had some curry like this, and this was all over the place in New Jersey when we lived there. Not as much in Kansas City. Ooh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. John, this one we can start feeling the heat ramp up a little bit.
I have a thing about eating with your, talking with your mouth full. It's hard to do, to not do, answering questions.
Can you tell us more about the leadership team? What makes them great? You know, what are you excited about with each person? Can you elaborate a little bit on them?
Yeah, I am blessed. The company is blessed to have the leadership team that we have. You know, I think, you know, it starts with people from the industry with lots of experience within the industry. So you have Bobby Weiss, who's been with All-Tile CCS for 30 years. It's just an amazing leader of his company, has been, you know, president of NAFCD, or certainly very involved in NAFCD, et cetera, knows all the suppliers, knows all the big customers, et cetera. And so he's a great resource for me. Always has very sound and great advice. Sorry, I'm sweating.
That's okay.
And one of the great things about Bobby is he frequently calls me during the week and just says, "Hey, are you having fun yet?" So he finds a way to keep it light and to keep me focused on the things, because we're all very busy, and he keeps me focused on sort of the things that mean the most, which is having fun. And so next is Kevin Iskin. I think he's been in the supply space for, I think, over 40 years. He is 25 years at CCS, has done amazing things there. So he's got a wealth of experience. He's our COO, leaning on him a lot. He certainly knows the trucking, knows the products, very good with the customers, another great resource. And then John Welsh, CFO, was with All-Tile CCS for 24 years. Sorry, I got the hiccups. And he, my nose is running. I was hoping this wouldn't happen, but it is.
It starts to ramp up a little bit in this thing.
It does. So. This is going to make some people in the cheap seats happy. But I will tell you that John Welsh, 24 years. Before that, he was 9 years in public accounting, so he's got a CPA. And the thing I like most about John is that he's very even. For those of you who know me, I can get excited about things. and John is very even, and so if something's really bothering me or if I'm really excited about something, he finds a way to sort of keep it grounded and to be sure we're focused on the right things. So those are the people that kind of come from the industry. Now here is maybe the neatest thing about, so with scale, as we're growing, we have the ability to invest in things, right? So we never had a dedicated sales leader before, right? As we have grown, we've been able to invest in a very dedicated sales leader, and so that's Keith Anderson. So he's started his job, or started in the industry at Shaw, and then after that was at Congolium and led large sales teams when he was at those organizations, part of or led those sales teams. So we plucked him from Congolium as a very good sales leader. He's got a great demeanor, great relationships, and brings a manufacturer's bent to the team, which I think is excellent. 24 years for him. And then finally, I really want to bring the point home that we've invested in two positions. The other two people on the leadership team we've invested in are folks in positions that we didn't have before. So we never had a CIO. None of our brands did. We had some people that did it off the side of their desk. And so we've hired Tina Thousand. Spice is getting to me. Tina Thousand, who has excellent experience in from food service to retail to building materials distribution as well, and just has a wealth of knowledge and experience to bring to the team, and allows us to work on becoming the technology leader that we want to be. And then finally, we had really nobody leading sort of the strategic part of HR, if that makes sense, right? We had payroll folks, and we had really important people doing really important work, but it was really nobody holistically looking at benefits or looking at PTO policies, or we had 5 or maybe 6 employee handbooks, right? So we were able to hire Rebecca Gillis, who comes to us with over 20 years of HR experience in the medical field, as well as she worked for H.B. Fuller, which is a supplier of ours, so she comes with manufacturing experience as well. So I think the highest compliment I can give my team, and it really hit me last week when I was taking my son to college. I was having breakfast with my son and my wife the day we were dropping my son off, and my wife looked at me and said, you haven't been on the phone very much, certainly not as much as you normally are when you try to take a day off. And I responded to her, I said, I have such a good team that I don't need to be as involved in the weeds as I used to be before. And so, maybe in some ways, my job's easier than it's ever been because I have smarter, more experienced people than I've ever worked with before. And so, I think I would put our team against anybody in the industry. And so I think that bodes well for our future as a company as well. Finally, a bite-sized piece.
All right.
That's good. Open, pour, enjoy, repeat.
It's quite good. And we look at that smokiness, which I actually really enjoy. So
yeah, it's good.
So John, what does the future look like for All Surfaces? I know we've touched on a lot of kind of spots, with integration, ERP, leadership, branches, but in your mind, like All Surfaces, where do you see that going in the future?
It's a great question, and as I mentioned earlier, we started, at least in my tenure, we started at 34 million, and now we're well over 400, and we've done that in less than 5 years, and there's no reason to believe that can't continue. As far as the growth of the company goes, I suspect that right now we're the second largest building materials distributor in the flooring and the supply space. I think that we have certainly an opportunity to continue to grow, maybe to be number one, because we have the great leadership team. But I think the one thing that I really want to highlight is that where I think it would be really important to go is to be a leader in a lot of things, right? We want to be the sales leaders. We want our customers to really, rely on us to be, the best at selling and solving their problems. Our operations teams to handle the pick, pack, and ship, and the logistics, and the dropping things off to the customers, with very little problems with pricing or accuracy. And so those things are kind of table stakes for distributors. But where I think we really need to go, and I think there's a real opportunity to lead, I think there's some real open space here, is that I think we can be technology leaders. There are people that, there are companies, competitors that we have that do it well, but I don't think that anybody is really pushing the envelope in terms of technology and really interacting with our customers in a 21st century mentality, and I think we can do that. So what do I think about all services? I think the sky is the limit. I think that we have every opportunity to get ourselves to $1 billion or more. And I really believe that we will be synonymous with efficiency, excellent interactions with customers, customer service. I think that when people think about all services, those are the words that are going to come to mind. Relationships. I think we're going to be able to do those things very, very well. So a bit of a rah-rah answer, but I truly believe that. I think that we've got the financial wherewithal to make those investments and to do those things. And so I'm excited about our future and really looking forward to it.
Moving on to the next wing, and some people may know or may not have heard this one before. It's from a company called The Bomb.
It's from my hometown. It's from Kansas City,
Missouri. Yep.
Yeah,
this one is their all-natural sauce. Still packs quite a punch. I can come from experience.
It's got a nuclear weapon on the label. So
yes, it does. The color is dark. So, whenever we're ready.
I notice. Can you hold your wing up? I notice mine's about 2 times the size of yours.
I opted to give you more meat to help with the sauce.
I see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to do this one in 2 bites.
That's all right.
So here we go.
I'm going to go for 1.
To the bomb. Tried to avoid getting it on my lips, but that didn't work out. It's good. I actually think it tastes pretty good.
The Kansas City Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls in the past 4 years. Patrick Mahomes is arguably the best player in the league.
There's no argument.
Arguably the best player in the league. Would you consider this year's team the best team in the history of the franchise? And when you were growing up, who did you remember watching the most?
So, I will say, for those of you at home, I'm feeling that one.
You got it.
I got it.
No water yet.
I don't think that this year will be the best team they've had. I think the best team they've had was last year. I get it a lot. I am sweating here. I get it a lot that I'm a bandwagon guy. I'm going to need a tissue. Please hold. Then I'm
Water,
a bandwagon
milk,
guy.
ice.
No, oh, hell no. Careful around the eyes, right?
Careful around the eyes.
But look, I am a Royals fan, a Chiefs fan, and I have been since I was a kid. And so, I remember the Royals when they were younger with George Brett, Freddie Patek, Willie Wilson, some really good players back in the day, back when the Royals and the New York Yankees were a rivalry. Well, we haven't been able to, since 2015, haven't been able to sort of pull those rivalries out because we just don't have the money to spend. And so I am a homer. I root for my Chiefs and my Royals, regardless of how good they are. It's been nice the last 4 or 5 years being a Chiefs fan.
Mm-hmm.
And for all of you Denver Broncos fans, I heard a stat yesterday. It's been 7 years that the Chiefs have been straight winning the AFC West. So the best division in football.
Yeah. I'd say, hey, well earned, well deserved. Everybody has their time. Hope it comes to an end. Eventually.
Whew.
How you doing, John?
I'm sweating.
Yep.
I'm enjoying the endorphins that my body's giving out right
It's
now.
almost like a runner's high in a sense. You kind of get that.
Yeah, it's a runner's high.
I know I don't look it, but
I feel like I'm
I have
doing.
ran in the past.
I'm feeling like I'm getting some Bikram yoga going on right now.
Hot yoga?
Hot yoga.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this is
Looking tempting.
it's tempting, but we all know that having a drink of that will just make it worse. So look, there's a little tear for you at home.
It is real.
It is real.
It happens. Yep. So
okay.
with that, the bomb is now behind you. Next wing is a watermelon ghost.
I could use a piece of watermelon right now.
This one takes a bit of a step up. It's 256 times hotter than a jalapeno. So, John, you ready? How you feeling?
Feeling good. I just need to wipe my face. I'm able to handle this. I'm worried about maybe later today and how that might go over. I might have a French fry.
All right, John. So this next one, as I mentioned, is a watermelon ghost. 641,000 Scoville units compared to 2,500 for a jalapeno.
Smells good.
It does smell like watermelon.
I'm pretty sure at this point I'm not going to be able to taste anything. So here we go.
Here we go. I actually do get the sweetness from that one, though.
Until my nose hairs are melting right now. So I'm not going to need those tweezers that I normally use when I'm shaving.
Yep. So on the topic of wings and hot wings, you know you're a big foodie. It says right here you can handle the heat and spice, but I guess we're learning that as we go. What is your favorite type of cuisine? What city, in your opinion, that you've been to, has the best food?
My favorite cuisine is barbecue. Coming from Kansas City, the best barbecue on the planet. I am a huge barbecue fan, and it's hard to find good barbecue in some places. When we lived in New Jersey, went to a barbecue place that was famous for their ribs, and they were making gyro or gyro meat as well. So that's not a barbecue place, right? So they were basically cooking meat, and so that meant barbecue to them. So it was very hard to find good barbecue out east. But that's what I miss the most about Kansas City. And everywhere I go, whether it's Texas or Tennessee or even Chicago, I always try to find the best barbecue place that I can find because I really enjoy it. And I like the locality of it as well, right? So you go to, I think Texas and Kansas City are very similar. You know, Memphis is very different. North Carolina is very different. And I appreciate all of it. But my favorite food is Kansas City barbecue. Now, the city that had the best food clearly was New York City because I heard a stat, I actually forgot what it was, but it was if you ate at one restaurant in Manhattan every day, I think it would take you something like 30 or 40 or 50 years to get through every restaurant. So there's just so much to choose from there. And so by far, New York City is my favorite because any ethnicity, Korean food, Indian food, clearly Italian food, they have the very best of the best in some of those foods. They weren't great for their barbecue. They had a few places like Famous Dave's and places like that, which we'll do in a pinch,
right?
But not the best for barbecue. But other than that, it was New York City was my favorite.
Yeah. This one is called The Last Dab Apollo. And as tradition from the makers of this sauce, they always like to put a little extra on the
Make sure the lid's on that thing.
It is
when
on
you shake it.
So the heat's hitting you a little bit, so you don't have to, you don't want to, but
I might put mine on the tile and swirl it around a little bit. I might do a schmear. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna do a little schmear for those of you at home. Do it with a little.
I feel like I have to fuck up on this.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna swirl. I'm gonna swirl and scoop. I'm not sure how smart this is.
I don't know how smart this is.
It looked more fun on TV. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. See you in the bathroom later.
Yep. I think there's 2 stalls.
It actually has a good flavor at first.
Yeah, so now that we've completed all 10 wings and hot sauces, I'll give you the floor for one last word. Anything you'd like to mention, topics, whatever you want, as you work through the spice on the last one.
For those of you who know me, I'm prone to analogies, and I like analogies. And so I think the best analogy I have for what it is we're accomplishing at All Surfaces is my mother likes to quilt. And so people who quilt, they go out and they try to find pieces of fabric that have some individuality to them, but also from a color scheme and a mesh perspective fit well together. And so, my mom spends a lot of time finding the fabric for her quilts, and then eventually she sews it together. And then when it's done and it's all sewn together, it's a fully functioning blanket, if you will, right? With one purpose, but with individuality of each of the pieces of the quilt. And I think that's what we're doing here. And I feel like we've got some beautiful, sorry, I'm sweating. We've got some beautiful and amazing businesses that we've put together with some great individuality. And as we're sewing this together, we're building an amazing quilt and an amazing company. And so what I wanted to say is that everybody at the company is working very hard to sew the quilt together, right? Everybody's putting in a lot of effort, and I want to thank everybody for that effort. Whether it's on the ERP or the pricing or the data or the logistics, operations, sales, everybody's working very, very hard. And it's a testament to our mission, vision, and values that everybody, the let's go, right? I think that's really prevalent in all of our businesses, and everybody's working hard. I would like to say that I think that there's some folks maybe feeling like, we're not going very far, or we're not doing lots of things, or we're not accomplishing very much. And I would just ask people to sort of look back to November 1st, when we all got together, when All Tile CCS and Blakely and all of us were put together on November 1st, and just think about all the things we've accomplished. As sweat's running down my head.
This one kind of builds.
Yeah, this one's building.
It's a little spicier as it goes on.
All of these little things, or maybe things that feel insignificant, haven't maybe registered with folks. But when I share with people, either my friends or family or people in the industry, all the things that we've accomplished in the last 9 months, I get the comment all the time that it's been a good year or two worth of stuff that we've accomplished. And so I want to thank everybody for their hard work. I think it's important that everybody take a breath and have some perspective that what they're doing is really important. And we're going to be very successful because of the effort of everybody on our team. And so that's the thing that I'm most proud of, and the thing that I wanted to convey the most.
Absolutely. Thank you, for watching Evening Hot Seat. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out via the What If email address, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.